Hey, Daily Dosers, thanks for joining us today, and welcome to now part 2. How do I know it's part 2? Because we're picking up where we left off yesterday, and I'm wearing the same clothes. So if you didn't watch yesterday's, you may want to just go back right now and click on that. It's going to take 2 days for us to catch all that Paul is writing to this church here in Ephesus, this brand new model that God calls marriage. We are going to do marriage differently because it's going to create different homes. It's going to create different children. It's going to create different generations of Christ followers. And we needed to give it 2 days. To sum up yesterday, if you were with us, verse 21 of Ephesians 5 says, submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Husbands, you will submit to your wives. Wives, you will submit to your husbands. And then we looked into how it broke it down. Yes, wives, you have to respect your husbands, not because he deserves it or earns it, but because you're a Christian, this may be the cross you have to carry in your obedience to Christ. And then it said, husbands, we need you to sacrificially love your wives to the point of death. Agape your wives. And the model is just as Christ loved the church, which meant men what? We have to be the first to say, I'm sorry. We have to be the first to go to reconciliation. We have to be the first to fall on the sword or to put ourselves on the cross, if you will. If you're a Christian man and you want to do marriage God's way. Now, if you go, Chris, I'm going to do marriage my way, that's fine. You can choose not to be a Christ follower. This is what it means to follow Christ. Do you see what I did there? That was pretty good. So let's jump into this a little bit. First of all, 2 different terms. To submit to one another. What does that mean? It means to put somebody else's interest above your own. That's what it means to submit in marriage. Could you imagine a marriage where a wife was trying to put his needs first and a husband was always trying to put her needs first? Man, what a marriage. Man, what a fun home to walk into every night. You'd look for excuses how to leave work early, wouldn't you? You'd try to figure out how I spend more time at home. You wouldn't be taking the extra hours, doing the long route, stopping by the bar on the way home. See, God knows what he's doing when he's given us this roadmap. He goes, husbands, here's how you agape, sacrificially love your wives. Make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain, without wrinkle, without blemish, but holy and blameless. In the same way Christ loved the church, husbands ought to love their wives as their own bodies. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated his own body, but he feeds and cares for it, just as Christ does the church. Husbands, here's your marching orders. The scandal of the first century in a Roman culture was not telling women to respect their husbands. Now, that was a big one. But the scandal that rocked the empire was telling husbands, from now on, you put her first and you sacrificially kill yourself for her needs. Can you imagine that? In the first century, with what we know of the Roman Empire, it is laughable. And God says, we will change marriages, we will change homes, we will change churches, we will change cities. 2,000 years later, we are still reading what did all of that, and it still works today. Husbands, you think of how Jesus loved the church. What a nasty bride the church is. Oh my gosh, the amount of wrinkles and blemishes and stains we have on us, and still the length of love and care that Christ went through to buy us back, to wash us, to forgive us, to present us as holy, forgiven, and clean. Husbands, there's your picture of what you do today with your wife and every day with your wife. Once again, not because of how she loves you, not because she started respecting you, you start first. You're both doing it, not because of what the other does, but out of obedience. So in a very real way, I realize this and go, but she does have wrinkles. She does have blemishes. She does have spots. She does have stains. Time, gravity, bearing 3 children, that's changed her body. We've all married someone with flaws. We all have broken people. And this says to me, Chris, your job is to make her think she's holy. She's perfect. She walks on water, just as Christ loved the church. You don't focus on the flaws, the blemishes, the scars, the stains, what years, what gravity has done to the body. You focus on sacrificially meeting her needs and loving her, and present to her a beautiful, radiant bride. This is your call and your purpose until death. Gentlemen, I take that seriously. I take my wife's view of her body image, and her self-worth as my mandate to daily not focus on anything that's negative or wrong, but encourage and uphold her in all areas of strength and beauty, inside and out. Until I die, this is the role God has given me in that woman's life. This is what my children will follow. This is what will make our home strong. This is what's going to change churches. This is what changed the empire. We've got work to do.